Canada lynx are a mid-sized member of the cat family, and they're really well known for being in kind of that boreal habitat in Alaska. They're really cool animals and interesting animals to study, partially because they have this really close relationship with snowshoe hares. So snowshoe hares are the Canada lynx favorite diet item, and because they primarily eat snowshoe hares, there's this special relationship between Canada lynx and hares where the hare numbers get really high and the Canada lynx numbers get really high because there's tons of food, can reproduce lots of kittens, and then the hare numbers will crash and the lynx numbers crash. And so it makes it a really interesting animal to study because there's this natural population cycle, and that cycle happens about every 9 to 11 years. Canada lynx are really important to the ecosystem. For humans, when the numbers are high, they're the most trapped species in Alaska. But on top of that, they're also kind of one of the iconic boreal species and really popular for tourists and wildlife photographers because they're our only native cat to Alaska. And so people like to see them, especially in the winter. They're such cool animals with these giant feet. They're really well adapted to hunting and moving through the snow. And so you'll see a Canada lynx and they have really big fur-covered paws that act like snowshoes, and so they can stay on top of that snow really well.
So we started this project in 2019 as a collaborative project between Fish and Game and Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, kind of looking at lynx population dynamics throughout Southcentral Alaska, in particular the urban area around Anchorage. One of the main reasons we started looking at this project was we were at a high in the cycle around 2018, 2019, and lynx were starting to show up all around town. We were getting reports of 7 or 8 lynx looking into people's windows, roaming around people's houses. Lynx are very curious. They'll be attracted to shiny things like CDs or feathers or just like somebody's house cat. In town, there's a lot of different other food sources other than snowshoe hares. There's hillside chickens, which what small cat won't want to chase a chicken running around somebody's backyard. And also some people have rabbits raised around Anchorage. Nothing's more similar than a snowshoe hare than a rabbit running around town. So there's these alternative food sources here in town. That's one of the reasons why we were wondering, do Canada lynx cycle the same way around Anchorage as they do throughout the rest of Alaska? Their populations might not drop because they have other food sources to rely on when the snowshoe hare numbers are low.
There's a couple of things that make lynx an important species to study, things like climate change, things like disease, and then in an urban environment there is some extra factors, things like survival and movement. And so specifically in Anchorage, what we've found is that while there isn't harvest from trapping, things like roadkill, obviously when you have big roads, lots of extra cars and animals that want to cross those roads, that becomes an issue. And then the one that's been a bit surprising to us is lynx that have gotten into chicken coops and they're getting shot. So it's really important to protect your livestock, especially here in Anchorage. And lynx aren't the only animal that could potentially show interest in your chickens. And so what we're trying to tell people is that electric fences are a really good way to protect your livestock. And that will protect not only against lynx, which might go after your chickens, but it would also protect against things like bears or coyotes or foxes. Having a hard-sided roof can protect against things like owls and raptors.
Historically, all we could do was put what's called a VHF collar out, which only gives you a radio signal. So you had to be really close to know if the lynx was nearby or not. If the lynx died or dispersed, you had to know or fly a plane to track and see where it went. But now, with the advent of satellite collars, we get so much more information. We know exactly their detailed paths of where they go, when they die. We can go in and see what caused their death. And now with this detailed movement, we know what kind of barriers are to their movements. Like, can they swim across large rivers, which they can. They've crossed the Yukon River, and they've gone across large mountain ranges like the Wrangels. The one natural mortality we had was a dispersing lynx that we caught on the Anchorage hillside. One spring hit, it dispersed over 500 miles, all the way past Haines Junction and back into southeast Alaska. Spent the whole summer, and then once winter hit again, it almost followed the exact same path back through into the Wrangell Mountains here in Alaska. And that's where we believe it got stuck in an avalanche. We tried to fly and recover the collar, and it was under so much snow we could never recover it. So we assumed the avalanche was the cause of mortality for that individual lynx.
It comes up to the question of how do you catch and how do you get this information? What we do is we use what we call walk-in box traps. And so they're made of chicken wire and PVC, and they have a door with a treadle in the back, and then we hang some bait, usually a duck or some other type of bait. We put those out around Anchorage and on the military base near here. We put some scent lure on it, and so things like catnip, like other cats, lynx really like catnip, and then some other different kinds of scents, and that will attract the lynx in, and they can walk in the trap and step on that treadle, and when the treadle goes down, that door closes, and we get a message immediately when we have a lynx that's captured, and so we can go out there right away and do the workup of that lynx.
So this project's been great. We've got a lot of valuable data on Canada lynx populations. The numbers have now dropped, and we're at the very low of the cycle. So we're only catching about 5 to 7 lynx a year, where during the highs we were catching around 17 to 20 lynx a year. As the population comes back up, we'll keep on getting more valuable data to show how lynx movements and survival, and to see if there's other sources of mortality that pop up when lynx numbers are at their highest.
We want to go a little bit farther, and I'm interested in things like genetics and connectivity, so looking at if these individuals in Anchorage are mixing with individuals on the Kenai Peninsula and individuals north of us. And then we're also interested in doing some activity and behavioral data where we use accelerometers and put those on the collars and get really fine-scale data to understand beyond just where the lynx are, but what the lynx might be doing.